Polls have opened in Israel's second general election this year. It's expected to be a tight race. Prime Minister Benny Netanyahu voted earlier. It's hoped today's election will end the political crisis that began when Netanyahu was unable to form a government after the last election. That was just 5 months ago in April. But he's facing a close challenge from the former army chief Benny Gantz, who's running as a centrist. For the very latest, let's bring in DW's Tanya Kramer, who's following the voting for us there in Jerusalem. Good morning, Tanya. Tanya, what are the chances this election will produce the very same results we saw 5 months ago and the same political stalemate?
Well, that's absolutely possible. There are different scenarios that could happen. Now, pollsters predict a very tight race again between Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud and Benny Gantz's Blue and White Party, the party that was newly formed for the last elections. And then it's actually what is happening the day after the elections, because whoever wins the most seat in Israel's multi-party system has then needs to be able to form that coalition to build the next government. And that is where Benjamin Netanyahu failed last time. And instead of giving back the mandate, he actually pushed for new elections. And that's why we are here again today, why Israelis have to come to the polling station today. And what analysts here will also look at today is the voter turnout, how many people will come. It has been a very slow election campaign after a long summer, because that will also, of course, be seen then in the results. So at 2200 local time tonight, we expect the first exit polls, and we see where the trend is going. And by tomorrow morning, we should see some more official results then.
Okay, Tanya, thanks so very much for that. We'll have much more from Jerusalem as the day progresses. So what was important for voters? Let's talk about that now here in the studio with DW's Shani Razanis, a journalist and a Middle East analyst from Israel, joining us here today. Good morning to you, Shani. You know, when we look at the voters and what is important to them, they are definitely considering the instability in the region, from Syria to Iran, but also in their own backyard in Gaza. How much is security playing a role in this election?
Well, in a way, a lot. Netanyahu is Mr. Security in Israel's view in public for many years, being the driving force against Iran, talking about Iran as the head of the snake of the Middle East, bringing also President Trump on board with that. But then this is why we see the only people who managed to sort of come close and topple him after all these years is Benny Gantz, his party Blue and White, which is also, he's the head of it, but he has three other former chief of staff with him, because this is the core issue. Okay, that gives him a lot of credibility, Benny Gantz, doesn't it? The fact that he was an army chief and he has these people on board in the Blue-White Party, doesn't it? It does. But in a way, this is not about ideology. Ideology is not about ideas. The campaign is very much a personal one, and it's mostly about Netanyahu, yes or no. It is a vote of confidence in Netanyahu or not. Okay, now, to get that vote of confidence from the people who are going to the ballot boxes today, he's made a sharp turn to the right to galvanize his base. And he's vowed to annex parts of the West Bank, the ones that Palestinians view as part of their future state. But it's not just Jewish settlers who live there. Let's take a look at this. Evangelical Christians from the U.S. are also there in significant numbers.
The Hayavel vineyard was set up by an evangelical Christian group, the Friends of Zion. It's in an Israeli settlement deep in the West Bank, which the settlers describe using the biblical terms Judea and Samaria. These Christian Zionists believe the Bible promises the Holy Land to the Jews, but the settlement is in the middle of what the Palestinians see as a future state.
Evangelicals believe Judea and Samaria is Bible land, because it is. 6,000 years of history. Do we think giving up Judea and Samaria is going to bring peace? No way.
Local Palestinians and most of the international community see the settlements as illegal.
This land belongs to us, inherited from our fathers and grandfathers. We've had this land for thousands of years. The same way they've annexed Jerusalem, they want to annex the West Bank. And soon we'll hear of Trump acknowledging the annexation of the West Bank.
Christian Zionists have found a strong ally in the US president, pictured here with Mike Evans. They loudly supported his controversial recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Christian evangelical support of Trump and Trump's support in the State of Israel has gotten stronger in past years, to our delight, and that brings in more groups here.
Most people would blame the problems here on competing land claims and a violent history. But the founder of the vineyard has a different explanation.
And I think there's a reason why that there's a lot of conflict here. And obviously there's people that oppose God.
Mr. Wallace says that the purpose of the vineyard is to provide American believers with an opportunity to get hands-on in the Holy Land. These evangelicals are strong supporters of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who announced plans to annex significant parts of the West Bank if he triumphs in today's elections. Depending on the results, there could be plenty more land for settlers and the Hayavel vineyard soon enough.
Shani, Netanyahu has promised to annex places like the one we just looked at there. Has Israeli society, has the electorate moved so far to the right that now is feasible?
Well, we'll see, but I doubt that. This is mostly about trying to, he wants to have the biggest party. He needs to fight the Yamina. There's a party right to his right there supporting very much. There's a settlers party, and he needs to steal votes from them. That was partially why he went for this move. And it doesn't matter. For most of Netanyahu's voters, it doesn't matter what he says. It's Netanyahu no matter what. So he can now basically, knowing he has the American support, he can do whatever he wants. He's finally, in his view.
So that means he could annex parts of the West Bank, which there's a large part of Israeli society would completely support that.
Again, I think people will support Netanyahu for what he does, no matter what. I think it mostly depends on American response to it. You see that the Americans were not endorsing it as warmly as Netanyahu expected, but they also didn't object it, which with Obama, it would have happened. They would have had a very clear State Department or even Obama's statement saying...
In opposition to that.
Exactly. So he is trying to sort of walk slowly between the lines, trying to see what he can, sort of gauge the water and see how far can he go.
Well, there's been some key signals from the U.S., viewing Jerusalem as the Israeli capital. I mean, we already have a test case, if you will, for
indeed,
for
and that's also part of what he was campaigning on. You could see billboards with him and Trump, billboards with him and presenting him, Netanyahu, as the strong leader of the world, one amongst the top ones you can, in the international league. And it's working for him. Okay, now critics have described Benjamin Netanyahu as, quote, the Prince of Darkness, and call this a battle for the soul of Israel. Do you see it that way? Yeah, Netanyahu is very much of a polarizing figure. People are either for him completely or totally against him. And we've seen in this campaign that he stopped close to nothing. He was willing to jeopardize the integrity of the election, talking about the need for surveillance cameras in each ballot box, for example. This was something he tried last week, talking about boycotting one of Israel's leading news channels, claiming it's all fake news, and sort of a lot of Trump plays that we know, a lot of same plays that we see from Erdogan, we see from Hungary's Viktor Orban. It's the same set of tricks, let's say, of populism rhetoric that Netanyahu is now adopting, sort of breaking the rules. So far in his career, he was quite always the consensus guy, but it seems like now, fighting for his personal future, he's going all the way. And that's a lot of what it's about today, isn't it? Shani Rosales from us today, thanks so very much for coming out. Thank you, Brian.